Okay, looks like it's good. Okay, so this is the first time that I've done this, but I'm paying for StreamYard now, and now I can bring together both YouTube and Facebook in the same live stream. So I don't really know how the chat's gonna work. I guess it'll pop up and let me know. Okay, YouTube is working. I see a couple comments. Jared, what's going on? This should be live streaming on Facebook as well. I'm gonna have to pull it up on my phone. Okay, I see Judy from Facebook. Okay, good. I should have done this a long time ago, to be honest, because it's just so much easier to bring both of my audiences together. At least that way I can see all the comments. Okay, yep, I see it on. Yeah, cool. I see it on Facebook, and it's obviously good on YouTube. Okay, so we got a pretty big crowd watching already just because of the combined audiences. Sound is good. Cool. I'll wait for some more people to join. Yeah, then we'll get started. And I deliberately left this titled, what did I put? I think I just put, let's talk about it. I don't know. To keep it vague, because sometimes I get feedback. People are like, I thought this was supposed to be about Minneapolis and you're talking about God and all this other stuff. So I'll just keep it broad, keep it nice and vague, just kind of like systemic racism, just broad and vague. That way I'm not narrowed into just one topic, there's so much to cover here. But I won't be live too long, it's probably about an hour or so. Okay, cool. We got a good little audience here. Okay. Hope you guys got to check out the video I released earlier today where I talked about the Trump rallies that are going to be underway starting next Friday in Tulsa. The one in Florida has not been announced yet, like as far as location, but in his little, I don't know if it was a press briefing or just, I don't know what it was. He was doing some roundtable thing. Anyway, he announced that he's going to be going to Oklahoma, and he named that venue. And then he said Florida, Texas, North Carolina. So I don't know what order that's going to be in. I'm assuming maybe it's going to be in the order that he said. He said Oklahoma first, then Florida. I know some people are like, are you coming to Oklahoma? No, I won't be going to the Oklahoma rally. Unfortunately, it'd be cool, but because I live in Florida and, logistics, it makes more sense for me to be able to drive to a rally versus flying. So guys, I'm so excited about this. And there's so many reasons why I'm excited. For those of you that have been following me from the beginning, you already understand. You already know that this is something that I felt like I was called to do, right? I used to live in Minneapolis. I was in corporate America. Everything I thought was good, but then I decided, no, I need something different. And I got out exactly when I was supposed to. Thank God I did. And I moved to Florida. Just to kind of fast forward for some of you guys that are new. I basically decided that I was going to be open to this president. When he got elected, I said, you know what? I'm going to give him a shot. Everybody around me hates him and it's just weird. I don't feel that strongly one way or the other, even though Hillary lost. This is before I really knew about politics. And I said, I'm going to be open to it. That's how I am, just even keel, open-minded. Well, fast forward to when I moved to Florida and I became an Uber driver and I started meeting all these Trump supporters and I found out that they weren't these racist bigots getting in my car with Klan robes on. They were normal people. A lot of them said they voted for Democrats, blah, blah, blah. So the more I talked to those people and started paying attention to alternative media, started listening to conservatives, they started making a lot of sense. I felt like it was in line with what I already believed to be true. And then I bought a MAGA hat and I said, whatever, man, there's a lot of Trump supporters down here. I thought I was supposed to be fearful of my life, all these Trump flags, all this MAGA country, all this stuff going on. I bought a MAGA hat and I figured I'm going to go to a Trump rally. And I went to that rally and it blew me away. The energy was just high. Everybody had a smile on their face. They were high vibe and they were focused on positivity, which is something that I gravitate towards naturally. So I get the YouTube thing rolling. I get all these videos and then Right Side Broadcasting comes along and boom, here we are. But not without turmoil and trials and tribulations along the way. Here we are. It's June of 2020. This is probably the most important election any of us will ever vote in our entire lives, right? So I'm just grateful to be a part of it because this is huge. And none of this would have happened had I not opened up my mind and my heart and let God just talk to me and use me to deliver messages of hope and positivity and unity, because there's so much deception, spiritual deception, so much evil. Look at what we've just gone through in such a short period of time. Evil. That's what this is. At the end of the day, it's evil. Right and wrong, good, bad, evil. You know, there's a lot that is unfolding in front of our eyes. A lot of people have had their reality shaken and they're being forced to look at what's going on around them. Like the veil has been lifted. Some people just want to live in that world where they're controlled. I mean, you can see how easily people are controlled, right? People are so easy to be controlled. I mean, it's visibly obvious. All you got to do is look and see who's wearing a mask while driving their car, who's kneeling and praying towards other people, who's worshiping other people, who's denouncing their skin color. Those are people that are easily controlled. People are being controlled, manipulated, and there's not a lot of truth in their reality. They're gobbling up lies, right? And I just think it's huge that Trump is holding his first rally beginning next Friday. Remember, I called for this like a month ago. I said Trump needs to start holding rallies again. That's the only way we can overcome the coronavirus. But here's why it's such a smart, strategic move on his end, right? He's been basically immobilized for most of 2020. If you think about it, he hasn't had a rally since, I think, late February. Ever since then, he's had his hands tied, dealing with the coronavirus, dealing with riots and all the crazy stuff. He hasn't been able to campaign. He hasn't been able to do anything to control the narrative and get the attention focused on the positive things he's done. And of course, they destroyed basically everything that he has worked so hard for, everything we've worked so hard for. People have built businesses. People have started to orchestrate their lives in a way that they thought was sustainable, right? They saw optimism, they saw hope, they saw prosperity. And then it all came crashing down when the opinion of some bureaucratic doctor force closed our economy, put a bunch of people out of work, and sent us into basically a depression. I mean, we're damn near there. I mean, I don't know how many 40 mil. I lost track of how many people are unemployed, but I know the last time I saw was like upwards of 40 million people. That's just insane. And it's such a polar opposite of where we were, where we had record low unemployment for all people. I know it's all about division, black and white, but no, all people had record low unemployment. Crime was falling. We were basically making peace. I mean, things with North Korea had calmed down. I mean, didn't they say, oh my gosh, World War III, I can't believe he has his hands on the nuclear codes. And then nothing happened because they're itching for that. That's what they need to thrive. So that's why I say it comes back to spirituality, just darkness and light. I mean, we've been in a dark space for most of this year, and they eliminated everything that the president was working on, everything he was talking about, right? So they basically made it impossible for him to hold a rally physically and eliminated his talking points with one virus, right? One virus. And then with the death of George Floyd, obviously that caused a lot of friction and chaos. I mean, we've seen physical destruction. We've seen lives lost as a result of the peaceful protesting. We've seen a lot of buildings defaced. We've seen statues taken down, and they're still going, by the way. It's just, it's moved to other cities and it's just gotten weird. It's just, people are just airing their grievances all around, like the Seattle stuff. I'll get to that later. But we've seen so much craziness that we needed to pivot away from. And I think that these rallies coming up is such a strategic move because it's him controlling the narrative. Now they're going to have to shift the coverage. We know what they're going to shift it to, right? Oh, is it safe for the president to hold rallies? He's putting his supporters in danger. We're going to see a spike of COVID-19 cases in these cities that he's holding rallies. And it's not just the people inside, it's the people in line. We already know where they're going to go with this, right? But it's him pulling the narrative away from all of this cringy, disgusting racial tension that they are forcing on us. This is how you know America's not that bad, because they have to force it on you. They have to force it on the news. Last year, it was all about faking it until they made it. That's why you had Jussie Smollett. That's why you had the Covington Catholic story. They rushed to it. They jumped on both of those grenades and it blew up on them, right? They wanted that racial tension because they knew that that kind of chaos would work to their benefit. The darkness, the evil, getting people in very low vibrational frequencies, getting people, sorry to get all spiritual hippie on you guys, but you get what I'm saying, right? Just they wanted people to be in a dark energy space. That's what they actually need to thrive. And that's why I say it is spiritual activity that's manifesting in human form, but they all happen to be politically aligned, ideologically aligned with what we call the left, right? That's why I say the left. I try to move away from the left-right paradigm because there's problems on both sides, but one side specifically is focused on chaos, confusion, deception, destruction, violence, evil. All of those things coincide, which is why I saw protests of Satanists walking side by side with Antifa, with Black Lives Matter. There's a reason why witches and warlocks get together every month and try to summon some like evil stuff on Trump, on Pence, on people who supported Trump, on Christians, on the country. It's like, who does that? Like, what, this is weird. All of this weird cult-like behaviors and rituals with washing people's feet, apologizing for your skin color, which is basically saying God made a mistake. Oops. I mean, if you are going to apologize for who you are, that's you acknowledging that God made a mistake. And it's the left's way of mocking God to his face. Like, look at God's creations, dismissing him, saying that they made a mistake, because people are trapped in this matrix. That's all it is, guys, is a matrix of control. Like I said, the easiest people to control are driving cars right now somewhere, wearing masks, kneeling at Black people, apologizing to people that they don't know for things that they didn't do because of the energy, the darkness. They love it. The people pulling the strings, the people with their hands on the levers of power, they love that the economy crashed. They love that these cities have burned. They love that they can hurt the person who they hate the most. It's all about hatred and vitriol. I can't even begin to tell you guys, like, from the time I went to the first Trump rally until now, it's like the more I uncover, the more that I learn, the more I started to connect the dots, the more I started to get attacked. Right? The racism that I've experienced in my life is minimal, but the racism that I have experienced outwardly has come as a result of me putting on a red Make America Great Again hat. And that's why I made it a statement. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put this hat on as a declaration of independence, as me saying I will not be controlled by my immutable characteristics. I do not have a shared experience with anybody. I was born as an individual. And I'm going to make whatever decisions I want to make, despite the fact that I'm being told by media, by music, by movies, by anybody with a platform that I need to think, feel, act, and vote a certain way. And then as I discovered more people who were on that same page, Then the hate started coming. I started getting called all these names by progressive white liberals. That's when I started to see like, oh man. Then next thing you know, I'm listening to Dinesh D'Souza talking about party switch myth. I'm listening to Jordan Peterson talking about philosophy. And I've put all this stuff together over the past couple years. And here we are in the most important election that we're ever going to vote in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe you voted in elections that were more important than this. I don't know. I've never in my life seen anything like this. This combination of circumstances, and we're just getting started, by the way. We know that there's something else coming. We just don't know what. But there is something else coming. There will be something else. I guarantee you this. We know what's going to happen next week. When Trump holds that rally, they're going to say, well, we're going to see a spike in coronavirus cases. We already know what they're going to club him with. He already knows it. Right? There was a time where I was concerned that, maybe Trump has been compromised. Maybe there's something weird going on because our whole economy came crashing down and everything was just weird and grocery prices went up. He was talking about vaccines and all this stuff. And now I think he's pivoting back to that. And I think he's going back to where he was before this. Remember the Trump rallies that you would see on TV, or if you were at one, people were chanting just with happiness. People were happy. And that's where we were. And that's where I think we're going back to. I think that this is the first step in a long journey to recovering. And it's also a counterpunch to the dark side. That's what I'm calling it, the dark side. Not everybody who's on the left is a dark, evil person. I'm not saying that. I'm not making blanket statements about anybody, any person in particular, but I am saying that there are individuals who know exactly what they're doing. And then there are people who just don't even understand that they're being used. They're being used. Like I've never seen anything so blasphemous as somebody like Al Sharpton hijacking George Floyd's death, going on stage at his funeral to promote all of his beliefs and attack the president. This isn't the first time we've seen this. We saw it at John McCain's funeral. We saw it at, was it Aretha Franklin? I can't remember. A couple funerals last year. They turn into political rallies. That's all it was a political rally. That's what you call evil right there. If you're going to take the life loss of someone and you're going to use it for your political agenda, then I call that evil. So there's people like that are using their platform to try to distract, try to destroy, and basically that's it, destroy. They want to destroy everything that God created, everything that's good. They want to destroy freedom. And make no mistake, guys, everything that has happened this year and everything that will happen is part of an orchestrated effort to bring down a developed nation. That's it, period. That's why they have these contact tracers. That's why that's why you've got all these corporations, virtue signaling, pushing this agenda, this Black Lives Matter agenda, which is just part of this orchestrated effort. That's all it is, really, to destroy and divide. What does the devil want to do? Kill, steal, and destroy. What has all happened in the last 6 months of this year? People have been killed. They've lost freedom. They've had their businesses destroyed economically or financially and physically with violence. And then you've got people in the media who just fan the flames. People with platforms, people with real power are just fanning those flames. That's pure evil. And then you've got people who think that they're standing for something good. They're like, Black Lives Matter. Don't you agree? Like, who could disagree with the statement Black Lives Matter? Sounds good, right? Until you visit the website and you see who funds it and you see who the founders are and what the agenda is on their website, and how the money, as we just found out less than 24 hours ago, is being funneled into politicians, into Joe Biden's campaign, into who else? I don't know who else's coffers are getting filled up with money after tugging at the heartstrings of people. That's evil, guys. Pure evil. Just the mass manipulation of people tugging at their heartstrings, pumping fear into the hearts of people for their own sick and twisted agenda. And that's why there's people like me that tell the truth, to combat it, to be that thorn in their side. And the more that I do this, the more hate that I get. Somebody sent me a message today, this morning, probably it's like a haiku, just a long message telling me how I'm terrible, I'm a Tom, all these things, of course, right? But then at the end, she said, I hope that you experience police brutality. I hope it happens to you. And this was a Black person, by the way. So you see, you literally can't make this stuff up. Somebody who's obviously feeling like the police have done an injustice, which it's obvious they did. And apparently they care about Black lives, right? But not mine, because I don't toe the line, because I don't subscribe to the struggle narrative that they're forcing on me. They're forcing it on Black people everywhere. Every Black person in America should look at themselves as a child of God, as equal to all other children of God. We are one in the body of Christ. We're not going to be subjected to this tribal-like mindset. That's all they want, is to divide people. They want people to be divided into these little tribes with grievances where violence would be inevitable. That's what they want. Right? So if you can see yourself as a child of God, as an individual, somebody who's having a human experience, nobody's making it out of here alive, right? Your whole world will start to change. And that's where I think I've come in along the way, because this isn't just about Trump and getting him reelected. I think that God takes ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And is Trump perfect? Well, heck no, he's not. No, nobody says he is. I don't know anybody that thinks he's perfect, right? But there are people who can only see the person, right? They focus on color. That's all they do. They say Trump is a white man. He's president. He's evil. It's Black good, white bad. Well, obviously that's a huge lie, right? People are so focused on color. People are focused on the color of the chess piece instead of the moves that they make. What I mean by that is look at the moves that a lot of these people are making that supposedly care about Black lives, right? But they're calling for violence and destruction. They're lying on TV. They're doing the devil's work. Let me get some super chat shout outs here, because they're rolling in. Appreciate you. Foxfire. You're over the target when you're catching the most flack. I don't remember who said this. Stay on target, my man. You can do this. Appreciate you. Thank you. LD said, God bless you, Mike. Can't wait to see you at Trump rallies. Carmel Curley. I send a BLM supporter a video of Tony Tempa and Jose Chavez's story to show him that other people have died in police custody. He actually said being on someone's neck and putting pressure on the back is different. Wow. Yeah, see, the thing for me is I can't get caught up into the details of all of these cases, and because it's not important, because I see what the agenda is and what the goal is of these stories and why they keep airing them. And I was watching the news last night because I like to stay informed. I think it was Denzel Washington that says, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you do watch the news, you're misinformed. But if you can look through it through the lens that I do, you can see, okay, this is where they're going next. You can stay a step ahead of them. So they're basically showing like montage videos. They're showing all the different instances, all these videos that just so happen to surface this year of people getting knelt on, saying, I can't breathe. And the camera just so happens to pick up them saying, I can't breathe. I'm saying there's too much there for it to be a coincidence, right? For all the things, for Kaepernick taking a knee and the cop taking a knee, And then all these other cases, oh, this person was leaning on this person's neck and all this stuff. It's just, we see what it is. They're using it to get people to devolve and not think intellectually and basically go to war with the opposing tribe. Now, all of this virtue signaling, all of this self-loathing, all of this self-hatred, that's just building up resentment. All of these corporations that are jumping in and saying, hey, we in the Lyft community, we support Black Lives Matter. We're going to give Black people a discount on their next ride or whatever. I got some weird email from Lyft. I've gotten emails from other corporations. I'm like, you serve fast food. Why are you talking about Black Lives Matter? Who cares? Everybody needs food to survive. Can we focus on that? Maybe the one thing that unifies us still is we all got to eat, right? But no, we got to politicize food. Just ridiculous stuff, guys. Oh, someone sent another super chat. Appreciate all of you guys right now. Got a big crowd watching. City Sue said, God bless. YouTube can take their 30%. Just want them to know you're appreciated. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you to everyone that supports this platform. Like I was saying at the beginning, I feel like this is God's divine timing for everything, not just for me, for you, for everyone. We've all been chosen for a time such as this. We're all strategically placed. There is no better global position you can be in than in the United States of America. This is where you have the most opportunity. This is where you have the most freedom and liberty. You can do whatever you want here. And that's why immigrants come here from all parts of the world, because they know it. There's a reason why Hong Kong protesters waved the American flag when they were protesting against their government. They were unified in their love of freedom. So that's why I'm saying, when we're unified and we have a common goal and a common message and we have a common shared belief, which is freedom is our birthright, and there's only people in this world who will take your freedom, whether that mean they take your life or try to lock you up or take your money, confiscate your wealth. That's what the left wants to do. That's what the left has done. That is their agenda. Take everything that God made and destroy it one way or the other, manipulate it, mock it. Al Sharpton at the freaking funeral talking about spiritual wickedness in high places. Look, I'm not even going to get started on that dude. That race pimp, oh man, tax evading, straight up lied about people. People have died because of his lies. People have had their lives destroyed because of his lies and everything that the left has done. But back to what I was saying before, it's like the unity that comes from the acknowledgement of freedom and how we're all here at this time, and people are awake. People are conscious and aware. I don't know how there's still people that are asleep, but they're just so far gone. They think they're awake, but they're actually just pawns in this chess game. They're disposable. They will be discarded. For all of the white people on the left that are virtue signaling and apologizing and doing whatever they can, literally worshiping humans, they're just pawns. That's all they are. Useful idiots. Useful idiots. You think that if Black Lives Matter could have their way and basically do away with all of the people who don't support them, that those white people that help them do the bidding, you think that they're not going to be turned on next? You think that they won't be victims next? Like, that's how it works. They're being used as pawns right now. And don't think for 1 second that all of these different targets that they're going after isn't being orchestrated from above. It is not Black people right now saying we need to cancel cops and we need to cancel Law and Order and any TV show that portrays a cop in a positive light, or Paw Patrol. No. There isn't a single Black person you can find that is triggered by Paw Patrol or by Elmer Fudd with a gun. There isn't a single person. This is coming from some privileged, wealthy, bored leftists, probably in Seattle or Portland, which is a perfect segue to this, okay? They're the ones that are orchestrating the madness and chaos. They're the ones attacking these institutional pillars that keep America safe, stable, free. That's why they want to do away with the police department. That's why they want to do away with that, because they support vigilante groups. They support organized street gangs because they can be used as military law enforcement. It's no different than the brown shirts. History is basically repeating itself, and it's always been ideologically aligned on what you would call the left, which again goes back to evil. Who wants to do this? Who wants to control people? Who thinks that men can have babies? Who thinks that it's not a baby until it's born, so you can abort it? Who thinks that they can depopulate the world? Who thinks that they can control and manipulate the weather and food and spray chemtrails? That's all coming from that side. Evil. So these cities with these ultra liberal progressives, I guess Seattle and Portland, I think, are two of the most, I'm just going to say it, guys. I'm just saying it. Seattle and Portland are two of the whitest cities in America. So explain to me how these two cities, specifically Seattle, are off the rails right now. You think about a black city like Atlanta, majority black city. How come Atlanta's not having a bunch of riots and protests and chaos the way that they are having it in Seattle? All in the names of Black Lives Matter? Really? See, that's what they do. They control the narrative. They control the outrage. They control the message. They're doing all of this from the cozy confines of their inner city high-rise condo or their suburban home. It's these white liberals in these cities that are causing all this. It's the sociology professors. It's Merriam-Webster dictionary. I wonder who controls that. They're trying to rewrite history. They're trying to restructure or redefine racism to fit their agenda. Funny how that works, right? The people in control, the people guiding the national conversation are all these white progressives, white liberals, leftists, Marxists. It's all the same thing at the end of the day. It's the Jack Dorseys. It's all these people. And it's funny because when they talk about systemic racism, okay, first of all, that is a very broad term, systemic racism. They never, ever want to drill down to a policy that is systemically racist. They never do. They never want to talk about it. They keep it nice and broad so that it's hard for anyone to have a conversation around it. So they're doing all this. They're talking about systemic racism. And yet, all these instances of police brutality or people of color being treated unfairly is happening in those cities where you have left-wing governors, mayors, legislatures, police chiefs. It's all leftists. So if what happened to George Floyd in Minnesota is indication of systemic racism, then who's in charge in Minnesota? From the governor all the way down to the police chief, they're all on the left. They're all leftists. Same can be said for every other city in America where minorities are struggling with dilapidated housing, crime, drugs, no bad schools, just crumbling infrastructure. Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York, Detroit, L.A., San Francisco. I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, guys. Maybe it's just a coincidence that all of the cities where people are oppressed and are experiencing what they call systemic racism are run by Democrats. Funny how that works. I thought I saw another super chat come through. Ellis G, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. There's so many comments coming through from both Facebook and YouTube, so I can't really read them all. But I'm gonna try to stay on track, guys, because the thing is, I have so many thoughts that go through my head, and like, as you can tell, I've been busy. I've been on the go constantly. That's why I make videos in my car, because it's real easy. But during the day, I have all these thoughts. I'm like, man, if I could live stream right now, I would. So I try to keep it all in there until the end of the day, and sometimes I go crazy, but I'm going to try to stay focused here. I just think that it's very easy to see what's happening and who's doing it, and also who's falling for it. Right? We're who knows what's going to come next. I don't want to know what's going to come next, but I want to be prepared for whatever it is. I mean, no matter what, we can guarantee that there will be a mysterious spike in coronavirus cases right around late October, early November. Let's say it'll peak right around November 1st, 2nd, 3rd. That's when they'll say, oh my gosh, this is crazy. There's so many people that have coronavirus in the street right now. There's going to be something that comes along to try to subvert the election. We know this. We know it. See, the left, they're predictable. You don't know what they're going to come with next, because a lot of us, we were caught off guard by the coronavirus. But as far as the racial tension and the police brutality and the shootings, no, we saw that coming. A lot of us saw that coming. Credit people like Candace Owens, who've been calling it out from the beginning. She wasn't afraid to say what she thought early on about both the coronavirus and the George Floyd situation. And now come to find out, yeah, it was one big scam. At least Black Lives Matter is. We know this. We've known this. Those of us that are awake and paying attention and aren't lying, we've known Black Lives Matter was never about the betterment of Black people. It never has been. It's just one big shadowy organization, the faceless entity used to bully and shake down corporations, shake down people, get them to donate money. And look, they're conveniently funneling it right to the Democratic National Committee. Go figure. It's nothing more than a friggin' shadowy shell corporation. Somebody said something about the Russians. Hold on. Where did that comment go? I want to put it on the screen. I don't know. The Russians Are Coming movie. Yeah. Speaking of movie, I'm glad you mentioned the word movie, because what it feels like is, it feels like we are living in an ongoing Hollywood film production, doesn't it? I mean, think about everything that's happened. We've already seen it before on the big screen. We're basically desensitized to it at this point. It's like we're living in a movie. It's like, I don't know, The Truman Show, The Matrix. That's another good one where it seems like that might have been a documentary. The Purge, Outbreak, Contagion, all these movies. I mean, just kind of the movies and the repetition just made us kind of desensitized to it. Right. And now they want to do away with the police departments. Just straight up lawlessness and chaos is what they're going for. That's the end game. Because out of the chaos comes a new order, new world order. Remember once upon a time when that was called a conspiracy? That's just a conspiracy theory. But it's all good. You know, I think with all of the events happening this year, with how everyone's had their routines disrupted, they've had their reality shaken to a core. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for everybody to get right with God or participate in evil. Even if you don't believe in God, I mean, I know some people don't. I don't like to push, like I'm not some crazy Bible thumper or whatever, but I know that there are people who don't believe in God or whatever, but they still believe in something. And they know right from wrong, and they were born knowing right from wrong. I don't think you have to tell a kid right from wrong. Some things you do, but for the most part, you know it's wrong to hurt somebody else. So there's good and evil, whether you believe in God or not. And I think there's an opportunity now for people to rise above it all. Learn, like, I don't know, reconnect with your family. Like, I don't know, get out in nature. Learn what's really important. Focus on that. Or you can fall into the control matrix and just fight and just blame the Democrats all the time. Because as much as I say, oh, it's the left, I'm talking more about the cultural aspects. I'm talking about the ideology of the left. I don't really get into the whole, well, it's Democrats. Democrats run the cities, but Republicans have sat on their hands. They haven't done anything. They're spineless. They're weak. They just are. Not until Trump did anybody have the stones to stand up for anything. I mean, how many people were surprised to see Lindsey Graham pound the table for Brett Kavanaugh? People were like, damn, I didn't know he had it in him. They're just weak and they all need to go. They're all part of the same thing. They're all living up there in Washington, D.C. They're all being bought off and they're controlled opposition. And this is proof. This is proof. All they do is give we the people a bunch of lip service. This is when their voices are needed the most. Who watches Tucker Carlson? I know a bunch of people are going to say they do. Here's the thing. It wasn't until I really started listening to Tucker Carlson that I started to understand how bad it really is on both sides. It's really easy and obvious to point out the Democrat failures. It's constant. It's around the clock, right? Dressing in all this, the kente cloths or whatever, all the fails, all the pandering. That's so easy. But it takes critical thinking to examine the other side and see their flaws, unless you're just super biased on the left. But people who traditionally supported Republicans, now you have to look at stuff like this. And I think Tucker has done a great job keeping it 100. Is it just me, or is he the last truth teller on television? It blows my mind that he has not been fired from Fox News, because every night he tells the truth and it resonates with most people. Most people aren't racist. Most people don't associate racism and oppression with the American flag. And Tucker tells the truth and calls out the other side for not standing up for what they claim to believe in. So if they're not really standing up, then they're a part of it. And most of these people have been in politics for decades. We always like to point out, oh, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have been in there forever. Well, what about Mitch McConnell? What has he done? You know, and if we're being honest and truthful in the year 2020, which hopefully we are, we can call that out. And we can see that this isn't about left and right. This isn't about Democrats and Republicans. We know that they're being controlled by the same people. So Tucker tells that truth, man, and Candace Owens tells the truth. The people who are being hated on the most are the ones that are over the target. That's how you know. That's your proof right there. You can see. And it's going to be people like Candace Owens. It's going to be Brandon Tatum. It's going to be Anthony Bryan Logan, Patricia Dixon, myself. It's going to be a lot of us, Black conservatives, I think, that will right the ship right now, because where we are is not a good place as far as race relations go. The left has wanted this. They've been trying so hard to take us back. So when you get people like me and the people I just mentioned who are articulate, educated, smart, independent, self-reliant, proud of the country they're from, not wanting to kowtow to the leftist narrative, the white leftist narrative that our skin color is a disability and we need to see ourselves as inferior. We need to acknowledge white supremacy. Let me tell you something. To acknowledge white supremacy is to accept Black inferiority, because you have to believe it. And if you even say the words, you're affirming it to be true. And like I said in my previous video, nobody believes in white supremacy and white privilege more than white liberals. They believe in it. It is their religion. So what does that say about them? And they get so mad at us. They're the ones that I said earlier. That's where the racism comes. That's where I feel and experience racism. Of course, I let it roll off my back, because racism isn't, what is that even? It's just hate. It's just evil. That's all it is, whether you call it racism, sexism, or whatever. But they're the ones that are trying to control the minds of people who they see as inferior, people that need their hands held. Oh, they're just destroying their city. That's how they react. They don't know any better. They're angry. But we're going to ban Paw Patrol because it makes them upset. They get triggered. Said no black person ever. It's coming from some white person who gets to decide what's racist. And that's when people like me come in and say, nah, you don't get to control my worldview. You don't control me. I'll make the decisions I want. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump in 2020. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. So miss me with your narcissism, your condescending tone, because I see what you're doing to manipulate the minds of people who you think are inferior to you. That's what I'm saying. That's where I think we have, and that's why people like Candace Owens are getting hated on so much. They're getting hated on hardcore, more than I've seen before. I mean, look what she did when she had an opportunity to go and address Congress last year. Remember the whole situation with Ted Lieu? He tried to catch her in a lie, he tried to trip her up on something, and she lit him up. See, that's the kind of power that changes things. That's the kind of power where they're like, oh, damn, we can't put this genie back in the bottle. This is crazy. Because they've worked so hard to secure Black people as a residual voting block. They want us set to autopilot. And for the most part, it's working. It has worked until Donald Trump came along. But before that, they had us on autopilot. That's why Hillary was like, oh, I'm getting that Black vote. Yeah, I got hot sauce. Yeah. And then it didn't work out for her. Even though she still got the majority of the Black vote, it wasn't enough to push her over the top. She needed Detroit. Detroit stayed home. Some counties with a majority Black population stayed home. Now, here we are in 2020, Joe Biden. Joe Biden out there talking about things need to change after spending 40, I don't know, upwards of 40 years in public service. That man has been a politician for 40 plus years, and he's talking about it's time for change. And oh, by the way, it was about 5 minutes ago that he said, you're not Black if you haven't figured out if you want to vote for me or not. That's how confident and cocky that bastard was about him getting the Black vote. Hey, I own you. If you don't vote for me, you're not Black. That was a dog whistle to all the people who want to control and manipulate the masses, right? That's what they do. They speak it so confidently, right? These are the people that are trying so badly. They want it so bad. They want it so bad. And people like me, Facebook will shut me down. They'll suspend my page. They delete my posts. YouTube does the same thing. They shadow ban me because I call this stuff out. Candace Owens called this stuff out. She had her GoFundMe taken down. She was trying to raise money for a business that was being truthful in describing the Black Lives Matter protests. You can't even have that discussion anymore. They've slammed that Overton window shut. She gets her GoFundMe suspended. It wasn't even for her benefit. So see, they're willing to destroy anybody in their path on their way to power. But the truth always prevails. It always does. The truth will set you free. And that's why I speak it. That's why I do what I do. So I'm almost at about an hour. I think I basically covered everything I had to say. I mean, I could always go for hours on end, but I might start talking in circles, because I think there's just so much. There's so much to cover. There's so much going on. There's so much happening. Nobody alive today has seen this set of circumstances playing out in an important election year. And with the country divided, with them tearing down statues, and we've seen a bunch of violence. We've seen some crazy stuff, man. The Hodge twins call it out too. I mean, there's so many people that I could name that I haven't. Kevin's Corner. There's Will Johnson. We're the ones that have sense. We're the ones that talk some sense. We're the ones that we don't have an inferiority complex. We don't look at ourselves as inferior. We are equal. That's it. That's it. There's no compromise on that. We are equal. If you get stung by a bee, it doesn't matter what color your skin is, it's going to hurt. Doesn't matter. We are all the same. We are all one in the body of Christ, like I said. So enough of this tribalism. Tribalism is a destructive force. And it's also it's not true. I mean, it's primitive. Because I know that there's some people, white and black, who are so just dumbed down. They haven't awakened yet. They believe in this. They're buying into it. YouTuber by the name of Leo Dunson. I supported him. Never again. I can't do it. I stuck my neck out for that guy. I sent you guys to go donate to him. I said, hey, he's running for Congress. Go support this dude. He's really awake. He's got a lot of positive things going on. And he's falling back into the tribalism. He's falling back into black people need to leave. We need to go to Africa. We need to do all this other stuff. I'm like, how about no? How about no? How about people look in the mirror, fix their own lives, connect with their creator, and realize we're at war with a spiritual enemy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. This guy is supposed to be freaking pastor, preacher. But yeah, he's talking about black people this, white people that. I'm like, man, no. People are going backwards for some reason. They're hyper focused on pigmentation. I think it's weird. I've said that a long time ago. I've never experienced racism or systemic oppression or systemic racism, whatever they're calling it. The only racism I experience comes from liberals who don't like what I have to say. That's it. But miss me with this whole systemic racism. If that's true, why are Asian people so successful? How come black people move here from Nigeria and build an empire? Because it has to do with culture. That's why. It has to do with culture. It has to do with personal decisions. And there's a lot of other factors that go into it that are downstream from the culture. Like the whole abortion is cool, it's healthcare, or the toxic rap culture, if we're talking about the black community specifically, where it's cool to have a litter of kids by 7 different women. And then you have kids growing up without dads, fatherless homes, gang banging and shooting and all that stuff. That's culture. That will determine your outcome a whole lot more than some unknown policy that you can't name. It's just a witch hunt. It's just a ghost hunt. When they say systemic racism, the NFL, we're going to spend, I just found out today, they're going to spend $570 million to fight systemic racism. What does that even mean? What does it look like in action? Where does that money go? And why did you wait so long to spend that money if you truly believe that there is systemic racism? See, that's what's funny about all these corporations out here virtue signaling. They act like they're so down for the cause. In reality, they're bending the knee to the mob because they want to earn money. So we know that that's all about marketing, campaigning. They want to make money, but they also don't want to be destroyed. They don't want to lose business by not acknowledging Black Lives Matter. Well, why did you wait until 2020 to acknowledge Black Lives Matter if you truly believe that? See, they don't want to talk about that. Now Black Lives Matter. Now we're talking about it. Oh, now we're down with it. We support Black Lives Matter. Let's paint it on the street in Washington, D.C. Let's paint Black Lives Matter. Why did you wait until now to paint it? Because they don't care. They don't care. We call it what it is. People that watch me, they know it. You guys know it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not spread misinformation or propaganda. I'm giving you my opinion, but it's backed by a lot of evidence and truth. Stuff that people can see for themselves. Black lives will stop mattering to the people running their mouths about it after November 3rd. They will drop it like a bad habit. They will be done with it until 2024, of course. And then you'll see more heightened craziness, chaos. But for now, it is expedient. It's very expedient. Ryan said, "Who's paying you, Mike?" Funny. You think this is lucrative? Oh, man. It's more lucrative to be a martyr. I love when people say that. I love it. I don't know if you were joking or not. You could be telling the truth. You could be saying, what you actually think. But who's paying me? Imagine me getting paid to have unpopular opinions. I mean, they're popular amongst a lot of people, but amongst the people who control our little reality, people with social media, people who run social media, people who run the media, people who are politicians, people who are out in the streets protesting, marching, wearing masks, all that stuff. It's unpopular. I guarantee you, if I decided to pull a Jussie Smollett type stunt, that would get me fame and superstardom much faster than simply telling the truth that America is not that racist. There are racist people here, yeah, but America is not a racist country. Because if it was, you wouldn't need a Jussie Smollett. You wouldn't need an Erica Thomas. You wouldn't need all these dummies committing hate crimes on themselves. There would be no time to commit a hate crime on yourself if America was full of hatred. See, people want to take this flag you see behind me, and they want to attribute all the negativity to it. None of the positive, just negative. Oh, America was founded on slavery and genocide and stolen land and blah, blah, blah. Okay, you tell me what land in the world isn't stolen? Were tribes not warring against each other back in the day? We're all talking about tribalism. Oh, blacks here, whites here. That's what they want, right? How come black people in tribes in Africa, indigenous tribes, they went to war with each other over resources, over land? They were always battling. So the lie that the whole, America's on stolen land, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if that's true, steal it back. I mean, right? America couldn't have been taken without people taking it or people losing a fight, losing a battle, whatever. But people talking about how, it's all about slavery. Okay, America was not about slavery. There were Americans who held slaves and there were other Americans who stopped them. The American flag is a symbol of freedom and prosperity, which again, like I said earlier, that's why immigrants from all around the world want to come here. They don't have the same perspective of America that your average leftist who takes everything for granted does. See, the leftists here hate this country. They hate it. They think that they can just tear it down and remake it and it's going to be better. But not a single thing that they've done or want to do would make anything better, would only make things worse. All they're doing is building up resentment. So again, to think that I could be doing this for money is pretty funny, because it'd be much more lucrative to just be a martyr and paint myself as a victim. Like, oh, I was hunted down today. I experienced systemic racism today, even though, the richest black people on the face of the earth live in America. I don't care who you're talking about. Eddie Murphy, Mike Tyson, Oprah, the first millionaire woman ever was black. I believe Oprah was the first billionaire woman or black billionaire, one of the two. She basically set a milestone. How is that possible that so many wealthy black people could slip through the cracks of this white supremacist grip? And how could they earn their money if not for all of the people who control the money and have all the money, right? Giving them money, spending money at their concerts, at their sporting events, buying their books, renting from them, patronizing their businesses. How is that possible? If Black people are being hunted down, what's taking so long? Why aren't they doing it every single day? LeBron James said we're being hunted every day. Well, we're only 13% of the population. We're outnumbered. Why are they taking so long to eliminate us? Oh, that's right. We're eliminating ourselves. That's why they take a George Floyd situation and they blow it out of this crazy proportion. Oh my gosh, we need reforms all the way down. Cancel all the police departments, no more movies, no more kids' toys. All the things that have to do with police have to be gone. We must do away with it. And also, Black Lives Matter. Everyone needs to get the tattoo Black Lives Matter or you are a raging racist. That's why they cling to it. Because if people woke up and saw exactly what was happening, the problem would be fixed. It would be fixed if people actually acknowledged what the real problem is, but you're not even allowed to bring it up. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about how many people die in Chicago every single day, or St. Louis, which is actually worse than Chicago. If you're talking about per capita murder rate, St. Louis blows Chicago out of the water. It's the Black on Black crime. It's the genocide in the womb. It's the fatherless homes. That's what's destroying Black lives. And it's not even close. If you want to talk about hate crimes, which I don't agree with, hate crimes, aren't all crimes hate crimes? I don't know. If you want to talk about that stuff, Black on white violence is happening at an alarming rate. And that's the thing. People get mad when I say that, but it's on camera. You can look on YouTube and see people getting beaten for their skin color. People are doing that. That's happening. The racism is happening right now. Systemic racism is not a thing, because if it was, they'd be able to point to a policy. If they really wanted to fix the problem, they're not solution oriented. They just want chaos. They want control. They don't want to solve the problem. That's why they keep saying, we shall overcome. When is that going to happen? It can happen because Al Sharpton has made his entire career off of this. Right? That's why they don't want to talk about these things. Systemic racism. Okay, well, how do you explain your status? How come Asians aren't out in the streets destroying stuff? Because they've been discriminated against. They can't get into certain schools because apparently they're too smart. They've lowered the bar for Black and brown people to get into Harvard. So if anything, we've gone overboard with trying to accommodate minorities based solely on skin color, not on ability, not on skills, not on talent, not on credentials, but just because your skin color, you get this opportunity because we like the optics of that. See, that I think that stuff is just evil, guys. But I really need to wrap up. It's been an hour. I like to keep these short. I know there's some trolls in there, probably somewhere. I would love to put one of them on the screen. I like to do that at least once before I go, because it's beautiful. It's fun. Because maybe they're watching because there's something that they can learn. Otherwise, I don't know why they would waste their time. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can just turn it off. It's really easy. You can click away. But no, they go out of their way to spread hate and bigotry. They go out of their way. Like, I'm going to send him a long message in all caps and say, I hope he gets killed by the police. And don't go asking for white people to help you, blah, blah, blah. Who does that? What possesses a person to spread that kind of hatred? What possesses you to wish evil, to wish death on somebody else? I've never done that in my entire life, and I never will. But people feel justified in that. They feel justified in their anger and their vitriol because, you know, Anderson Cooper said it's okay. Don Lemon said it's all right. Lester Holt said it's okay. Chuck Todd, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they're all behind me. They all support it. And, it's all the evil bigots that support Trump. See, this is why it's so good that he's holding his rallies, because you're going to see people come out unified, people excited, people focused on love and light and happiness. And what better person who pisses off all the right people than Trump to hold a rally and really blow this coronavirus lie, the pandemic, out of the water. Because here's the thing, if he holds this rally, he's holding these rallies next week and the week after, and he's coming to Florida, he's going to have thousands of people show up. There's not going to be any social distancing. People aren't going to wear masks. I'm sure some people probably will, but there's not going to be any of the guidelines in place. And that forces them to acknowledge that it's not that deadly. And then people are going to look around and say, well, can't we have concerts again? Can't we go to church again? Can't we go back to theme parks? Can't we return to normalcy? Can't we hold weddings? Can we have graduations? Can we just live the way we were living before this? How many people are going to, celebrities, people, the people who know best, the people who tell us what to think and feel, blah, blah, blah. How many of them are going to put out mean and evil tweets next week when Trump holds his rally? How many, I can already call it now, how many evil tweets will we see of, hopefully the building burns down with all Trump and his supporters. Hopefully they all end up on ventilators. We all know it's coming if it hasn't started already. And that stuff will be applauded, retweeted. Jack Dorsey will look the other way. We know how this works. We know how it works, so we shouldn't even act surprised. But what's great is, like I said, it's going to be a strategic move on Trump's part to hold a rally, several rallies, and just campaign like normal. We got to force the issue to go back to normal. Just start living your lives. No more protesting. No more going to your governor's mansion begging tyrants for freedom. Just live free, because you are free, and that's what this country is about. And people, regardless of color, regardless of gender, regardless of any other stupid group identity that the left is trying to force on everybody, regardless of any of those things, we are unified as American citizens, children of God, freedom first, spiritual warfare, guys. Stay vigilant, put on the whole armor of God. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. That's all I have to say. God bless all of you guys for watching. This is the first time I had two audiences together, and I'm going to do this more often. This is obviously much easier, but I thank everybody for tuning in. Please make sure that you like this, share it, get it in front of some eyeballs, get it in front of some people who disagree. Support me on PayPal, Patreon, Cash App. I have Venmo. I have a couple different ways. I have a P.O. box. If you want to support, you can send me emails, mikenificent813@gmail.com. Just do whatever you can to get the truth out there. Don't be intimidated. Don't bend the knee. Don't apologize for your skin color. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't. Let's stop it. It makes my stomach turn. Let's not do it. Okay. God bless you guys. I'll catch you in the next live stream.